Hello, it's Lily. I'm under here. Okay. We are going to discuss and make and look at pockets, which is one of the best things invented. If you've ever had a skirt or dress without a pocket, you know what I mean. But these are not that kind of pocket. These are book pockets, altered book pockets. And let's see, why would you make a pocket? I don't know. Because it's fun and it adds interest to your book. In my opinion, one of the best things about altered books is their interactivity, which is an idea that has permeated its way into all my other art, because it's so fun to both to make something that's interactive and also to be able to be the person who interacts with it, right? It's fun for me just looking back on my own pockets. Fortunately, I have a plethora of examples to show you, because I was just trying to get inspired and nail down what I wanted to do for this video, and I found so many pockets. So we're just gonna go on a pocket journey. I will warn you, this is going to be a longer video. I'm going to skip next week and work on my own book. So we're just going to see how many pockets we can make and how long it takes us. And feel free to watch me in double speed, which I think more than one person is currently doing. Fine by me. I know that I ramble and mumble. So, okay, this is one of my altered books. This is my altered book Oracle and Oracle deck. So often you can tell where pockets are in my books because something is sticking out. So I know there's a pocket there. This is a really cool pocket. I made it by taking 2 pages that are designed on each side and gluing them together or taping at the top and bottom, but not gluing it all the way down. So basically, I just made a pocket between these 2 pages. This isn't a pocket that you would want to put anything precious in because it could certainly fall out. But this is big enough that the weight of it is in the pocket so it doesn't fall out. I like the fact that it sticks out from the rest of my book. As you will see, as we demonstrate, I often put instructions on my pockets or near my pockets so that people know what to do, so that they know they can open it. If, God forbid, I'm ever not around when they're looking at my book, then hopefully those instructions will help them. So this pocket contains within it basically a miniature book / collage / chosen poem. The poem says, "Important, accurate representation is not to be expected." And then it has an additional interactive element, which says, "Your heart is a holy fire," which was actually a message someone had sent to me. The way I covered this book is just with something clear. I don't know exactly what it was. And I glued it on with Mod Podge, and then I think I taped on the inside. But anyway, I in addition to providing instructions, I like to also protect my interior elements, because again, the idea is for people to interact with them. So you want these to be perhaps a bit sturdier than just your average altered book page. There's another pocket I want to show you. This is the same idea, I believe. It's a full page size pocket. I believe this was, and it's funny, I didn't even put this on my list, but this pocket was actually just an envelope that I received in the mail that had this cool pattern already on it. Let's see if I can get you over here. I added the woman and the words, but this was already a pocket with a flap. So I just pasted that using duct tape onto a full page. It was just the right size. But keep this in mind, I didn't put this on my list, but this is a great way to make a pocket, is just take something that's already a pocket. So an envelope is a really good example of that. Paste it onto the page, voila, you have a pocket. So then I went ahead and collaged the rest of this, and then there is something in here. And since this one's a little smaller and I didn't want it to fall out, here are my instructions, look within. Then I went ahead and actually attached this element, which I do a lot too. Again, partly because it's fun and it makes the interactivity fun, but also it just makes it a more durable piece of collage. And then you open this up and it's like its own little book. So that's fun. Maybe we'll try to squeeze in an envelope pocket. Because that's such a good idea, and in fact, probably one of the easiest ways, if I didn't already say that, to make a pocket. Now this is a clear pocket, and so you can see through the pocket to what is within. But there's also a little instruction here that says to pull. So we pull out, and then we can see that there's something behind the pocket. So there's an image, then the clear pocket, and then the poem that goes in the pocket. So that's a really fun way to do clear pockets, because you're obviously expecting there to just be more texture behind here. But once you remove the element, there's a little surprise. I've been thinking a lot about memory. I took a workshop on memory in collage and how it's represented. And one of the ways of sort of portraying memory or loss is by using this type of thing where it's obscured in some way and then revealed through the art. So, or maybe not revealed, but there's something obscured that you're memorializing, which I thought was a really cool idea. I had done this already, but one more pocket in this book, which you almost don't even notice, but when you're on this page, there is a tab here that says to pull. It's been a while since I took this one out. I'm wondering if it got stuck in here, because one thing you have to be careful is with books, if you're using a bunch of Mod Podge or other types of glue, sometimes things get sticky, and if you don't use them, they stick to each other. But so one important overall note is just to make sure that anything that you're putting in a pocket that has Mod Podge on it, just make sure it's completely dry before you put it in. I often just use tape on my interior elements because that doesn't stick, and so that way I'm assured. So what I did here is, okay, I had a full page collage, and then I had just a, I can't remember, I think I had just a strip of paper that was a little bit thicker because it had been painted. So before I did this collage on the back, I made a pocket with that strip by gluing that strip of paper to this page. And then I made it a weird size, just because, again, it's fun. It's fun to, you know, change it up and try to think outside the box. And then the interior element is just one word. So I definitely want to try to replicate this. This is such a good, I mean, I happen to have this one word already printed out from another project I had done, but we can easily make our own very cool one word message. So that is, I love this. That's a really, again, very accessible way to make a pocket, because you're not just making the pocket, right? You're also deciding the purpose of the pocket. Is it to hide things away? Is it to obscure something? Is it to add a second message into the page? Is it to add a second poem into the page? There are all kinds of reasons. Is it just to be wacky? Often that is the case with me. This is a really cool example of a pocket on the first page of this book. It's completely clear, and you wouldn't even know it was there really, except I outlined it. I did notice that this pocket, because I put it in so long ago, is coming up from the page. So I need to fix that, and I'll probably just fix it with tape. But this is cool because this clear pocket either was already this size or I cut it down, but it already had a flap on it with sticky stuff, which is still working, so. And inside this pocket is just a tiny book that has no writing on it yet, but maybe someday someone will write something on there. I did get a typewriter as a special recent purchase, so maybe I could type something on here. Obviously we won't do that today because I don't even have ribbon in my typewriter. More pockets. I know there's another one in here I wanted to show you. The question is, where is it? Oh, I know. It's, again, you can always tell where the pocket is because it's whatever's sticking out. So on that page where that is sticking out, here's the message I wrote, pull. So this is what comes out of the pocket. I designed the pocket using the already painted page and also some other textural elements. And in this case, you know, the color kind of went with that as my color story for this page. And then the inside element is a poem that is on a page from the same book. So there's some consistency there. And then I also decorated it with the same like texture. And what's cool about this is this interior element could double, if I wanted it to, as a bookmark in this book or another one. So I would say the hardest thing about pockets is, you know, durability and getting them to stick to the page, depending on how elaborate the pocket is. And I could easily go back and reinforce this with tape, but right now it's holding pretty well. If you can sort of build your pocket up with more texture, more material, so that the pocket itself is already fairly firm, then I don't think you'll have as many problems with durability. Now this is a very silly pocket, but I did want to show it to you because I used just the pages again of the book. So this is 2 pages of this book, partially glued together, which left an opening for me to put things inside. And this, we won't be this elaborate, but this is one of the techniques I wanted to show you of what to put in your pocket. Sometimes you can put like little tiny elements in your pocket. In this case, I decided, because it was sideways, I decided to go ahead and attach those elements. But these are little tiny mantras. So I had tons of fun making this pocket. And then again, I have a little handle here, you know. Okay, so that's that book. Let's look at a couple more. I love just getting inspiration, and hopefully as you work through books, I encourage you to take pictures or little videos of anything that you really like and you want to replicate in your book. This is actually the book I'm working on now. This is Joan's book, so I'm going to try not to show you too much of it because it's a surprise for you. But I do want to show you a couple cool pockets. These are pockets I actually made 4 or 5 years ago now in her book. And, excuse me. So this is one of them. This is a double. I'm going to take this out for now. This is actually a double pocket. So there's a pocket here in the back. There's also a pocket here that you could put something in. And then this is the collaged element I put inside of it, which is just made out of wallpaper and my handwriting. But you could put something back here, but you could also put something here. And the other thing I love about this pocket is how pretty it is when you don't even really know it's a pocket. It could just be like another page in the book. And then the other pocket I want to show you in here is at the end of that same installation that I did several years ago. This is just a page, a book page, folded over, glued down, and then I did some trim, you know, to highlight the fact that it's a pocket. And then I did a mini collage that I put in with, again, a tab that says pull. So it's fun to make the pockets from the book in some way. That's always fun. You'll get to see that in person at some point, everyone in this circle, which is so cool. Okay, finally, I'm going to show you a couple more examples. First one is pretty close, yeah. This is my big book, and since I didn't have anything else like this to show you, this is sort of like the other one where we were obscuring something behind, except in this case there's nothing behind except the page. So I just decorated the page to begin with some paint. I think this was leftover paint. And I did find a poem on the page, so I made sure and leave that clear. And then the rest of the page, I made these little tiny pockets out of clear envelopes or vellum. I think it was a sleeve that like a piece of art came in. They each have their own mini collage in them and a poem / mantra on the back. The theme of this book is the United States of blank. So I made this one the United States of self-help. And all these little collage elements came from, the major images came from the same magazine, which is sort of a woo-woo self-help magazine, which I think is funny. And I love that magazine, by the way. It's called Breathe. If you're ever looking for magazines for collage elements, I think it's one of the best. I love their illustrations, their color stories, and I get tons of good text from them. So I'm not negating the beauty of their magazine. I'm just saying it also works really well to sort of make a comment on the self-help industry, because the magazine ain't cheap. But so this is really cool. This was, this took me probably a day. So multiple pockets on one page. I don't know if we're going to do that today, but keep that in mind when you're making and see if you can fit in maybe 2 pockets on one page. Another pocket, since this is such a big book, it's some of the stuff that's going on in here you wouldn't probably replicate. But a friend of mine did this spread for me, and this is a ginormous pocket where she just folded over one of the pages of the book and then put all this stuff inside of it. And it's just cool because it's like the scale of it is obviously hilarious. And then she did the same thing over here, and she laminated some elements and put them in. This looks like it was a pocket that arrived to her as a pocket, like some sort of sturdy envelope. So she presumably glued that in because I don't see tape anywhere. And then that's another place to store stuff. So you could definitely replicate that on a much smaller level. There's one more I wanted to show you, which is actually Joan's spread from this book, who's in our current circle. And I think I've shown you this before, but there's a little tiny pocket, which I'm hoping you can see here. A little tiny pocket, and it's full of ephemera, which is like, there's a word in here. There's botanicals that look like they've been cut out from somewhere. There's botanicals that look like they were watercolored by Joan herself and added in. And these are all on like a nice thick paper, and they don't have any like protective covering over them, which is probably fine because they're of such sturdy quality. And all of those go back into the little tiny pocket, which I think is so cute. So anyway, I thought that's kind of where we would begin, because a little tiny pocket is fairly easy to recreate. You need a small amount of material. But also, before we get all the way started, I'm going to set this over here out of the way. Before we get all the way started, I wanted to let you know what is here with me as supplies. All of it, you can't see all of it in the video, but I'll just tell you, I have my glue, I have my cup of water, I have some elements I might want to use in a pocket. I don't know. These are actual botanicals, like real leaves that I pressed. I also have this jar of confetti. I thought confetti in a pocket would be super cool, but we'll see if we get there or not. I have tape, scissors, brayer, brushes for glue, obviously. I have a stack of these tea boxes I've been saving. Do you save your tea boxes? I always feel so bad throwing them out because they're so pretty. The designs on them are always so nice. So I was thinking this could be a pocket in itself, either we decorate it or not. I'm hanging onto this gorgeous wallpaper from the World Wildlife Fund that they sent to me for free. But I love the elements on this paper. I've used it in art already, but I'm going to continue to use it. I have a collection of words and letters, which is always going to come in handy. I have a whole box of textures, a whole box of images. I don't think we'll need them, but just in case I got them out. And then I have my clear bag of clear bags. So to make our clear pockets, we will need something out of here. I mean, you know, something came in this and I just saved it. It's perfect for a pocket. It's already see-through and it already has a closing mechanism. So I think the question is really just how do we attach it and how do we get stuff in and out of there and keep it durable? We will try to answer all those questions when the time comes. I have the book that I'm working in today, which is my More About Words is the name of this book, but it says sort of this, look, here's another pocket. You find them everywhere. This is an adorable mini pocket. It doesn't have sides on it, but this would be a really cool one to replicate too. We would need to tape it in because to take elements out. I think we're going to keep our tiny pocket simple and find a place for it here. I have not note that this book came with a pocket too. This is the old library card holder, which I could keep here and use as a pocket. So there you go. I mean, pockets are everywhere. You just have to find one. It would be cool if the word pocket was in here, but I don't think it is. I have penicillin, pink of perfection, P's and Q's. That might be a cute, or portfolio. Fancy name for a briefcase, so that's a good page to put a pocket on, right? Let's do it. We're gonna do a little tiny mini one. I'm not gonna decorate the rest of the page right now because it's already gonna be such a long video. But we'll just do a little mini pocket, and I think for this, what we want, this might be a good one to use a tea packet for. But the other thing I saw in my, like, we want a bit of a firmer, is that the right word? Like, we want a thicker piece of paper. This is a card that someone had sent me in the mail. So maybe I'll just use that because it already has some weight and design to it, so we don't have to redesign it. And it also already has, let's see, we want to basically, okay, brain. Now it's time for the brain to come on, right? We basically need, that's not the pen I want. Pocket shape. Why don't I just use this? I have to think now. No one told me I'd have to think. So if we want to get the most leverage out of this fold that's already here, which I do, let's say I want my pocket to be, you know, yay big. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. And I'm going to cut more than I need because I want to do the, it's often hard to get things in and out of these pockets, so I'm just going to throw stuff I don't need over there. Make it a little bit bigger and then figure out how the opening is going to work. So I can basically just tape this in. I don't think I need to worry about the sides as much. Okay, I'm gonna cut this off like here-ish. If I wanted to, I could reinforce the sides so that they don't come up. I think this is going to be a good candidate for taping because this would take a lot of, and quite a bit of glue. So what I can do, can you see what I'm doing here? Is put these on the side. I'm going to cut one of them. Now I have two. This is just going to keep my pocket from opening too much. And then I want to make it easier to get inside the pocket. So I'm going to cut an opening here. Just thinking out loud. So I could tape this in, I could tape this in. Will I be able to? I think this is enough that it has to be pretty shallow for this thick of paper. I think I need to cut these down a little bit more. I do want it to stay closed so that the elements I put inside it won't fall out. But I don't want it to be so hard to get into that you can't get the things out. And remember, we're just going to be sticking things inside of this that stick out, like the one I just showed you from that Joan had done. So I think, oh, excuse me, I think this will work. I almost sneezed. I'm going to cut this down a bit more. It's kind of weird. And I like that there's, you know, you can kind of see writing, but you don't know what it is. So I'm not going to change that. Okay. So, and then maybe I'll make this a little more severe. What I'm trying to do in these videos is remember that I'm making a video and keep my materials where you can see them. Okay, so I'm just going to tape this whole thing up. You know, if I was working in my own book and I had all day, then maybe I would use glue, use Mod Podge, or even Yes Glue. I don't know if I've talked about Yes Glue with you yet, but it's a thicker paste, and it would be good for something like this because once you get it in there, it would really hold it on. I think I'm just going to go ahead and tape this little guy together so we can move on. Got my handy dandy tape. So the first thing I want to do is tape the envelope itself together, the pocket itself, around the bottom here so that my little tabs don't fall off. This is, I mean, you could figure out your own way to make a pocket too that isn't this. So please don't think this is the only way. Okay, so this should have enough tape on it to stick. Ugh, I have my glasses on so I can't see ya. All right. There we go. So now I have the pocket's pretty well made. I could put more, like a tiny piece of tape on the side, just if we don't want our elements to fall out. Also, you can use, you know, Scotch tape for this. You don't have to use packing tape. That's just what I tend to keep on hand. When my youngest son was little, he was obsessed with Scotch tape, so didn't matter how much of it I bought, I could never find it. So maybe my habit to hoard packing tape comes from that. I don't know. I'm just putting tape all around the outside of this to make sure nothing falls out of the edges. Now you can kind of see this is it's a pocket. Okay, you could put this anywhere. You could put this in one of your skirts that's missing a pocket. But we're gonna stick it in here. Actually, the packing tape worked well to give a little bit of flex too. which is something you wouldn't get with glue. Now again, I could either paste this in, or maybe at this point I want to paste it in because, oh, I have my glue already ready to go here. Because if I taped it in now, I don't think it would be as flexible to put elements inside. So see if we can get this. One thing I can do is put the glue down. Put the glue down, hold it down, brayer it, and then I could put a piece of tape right up here to keep it. Dog hair. Always dog hair in my art. I could put a piece of tape on the back of this to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. It's actually sticking pretty well there. Just gonna put a little tiny piece so that for extra support. And then that's my pocket. Now I want to find some stuff to put inside of here. I was originally thinking I might put like one of these bugs and flowers. So let's cut out a bug. That's pretty easy. Tons of bugs. And then let's cut out a flower. Oh, this one right next to it. I just think this wrapping paper is the bee's knees. I am obsessed with the color palette. I don't know, if I wanted to be really clever, I could put something on the back side of both of those. This is a cool one too. Maybe three elements. This is a really cool one. I wonder if this is supposed to be a dragonfly, because it doesn't really look like a butterfly, because it only has these kind of wings. And then again, I want these to be sturdy, so potentially I could paste them onto the same type paper. I have tape stuck on my scissors. Typical Lily. I could do is paste them onto the same paper, and then the background they have would be the same. Boop, boop, boop. It's nice that Mod Podge is good for this because it's good for thicker surfaces, and also it dries pretty quickly. So I can paste them down and also put paste on top of them, and they're going to be dry fairly fast. Okay, and now one more thing I wanted to include in here is a word. I don't know if I'm going to get lucky and find a good word. Our page is about portfolio. Here's one that says exposed, but it's difficult to say what I might want on here. Oh, I do have these. I saved these words all from one project, so maybe something in here. What's this one? Beauty. Beauty would be good, actually. I have spirit, nature. Oh, look, nature. Beauty and nature, those are good. And I love, this is going to be fairly large. So let's put beauty on here. Do not want that word. Oh, need some more Could even make this a little tiny book within a book, but I won't. I'm just gluing these on the same type of paper that I used to make the pocket, because this is a thicker paper, so it's giving me the opportunity to make these elements sturdier without just basically laminating them. So I put the glue under, I put the glue over, and then in just a few seconds, I think these are already basically ready to be cut out. And then I have nature. Let me cut this down a bit. Hopefully you all have been collecting ephemera, if not before this project began, certainly since the beginning of our Altered Book Circle. I hope you're holding on to things. Certainly any pattern, anything patterned that you receive in the mail that you think you might be able to use, hang on to that. It's not just magazines, you know. I mean, we get lots of just junk mail, catalogs and flyers that I'll just hang on to. If anything, you can use them as glue pages. You know, glue places to, well, I call them glue pages. Did I already explain that? It's just like what I put down when I'm gluing so that I don't glue all over my work surface. Or I put them between pages when I'm working. Okay. Anyway, those are my little elements. I had wanted to do, I guess we're not going to do collage in this one. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut these out again, so they have a nice firm back, and they have Mod Podge on the front of them, so, and if people's little fingers are touching them, it'll be fine. They won't get dirt on them or dog hair. That's what I always have on me. And I can trim these down a bit more now too, if I want. So there's my bug. I like nature, beauty, and flower, a bug, and, well, two bugs. I mean, I think a dragonfly is a bug, is an insect. I don't know. Someone who knows these things, please comment and correct me. Okay, last one. Now, I'm not going to attach these in any way. I'm not all that concerned about them falling out. But if we wanted to, we could devise some sort of system of attachment, like strings, put them on strings or wire, and then even when they were pulled out, they would still be attached. I'm just going to stick all these in my pocket, my bugs and my nature. And then we'll have to make this, when I come back and do more on this page. One problem is that some of these are a little small. They might get lost in the pocket, but we're going to go with it for now. Again, I could devise some way to attach those. Now maybe the last thing I want to put, do I want to put an actual leaf in here? And I think what I'm going to do in order to do that, I'm not going to put a backing on it, but I am going to just give it a little bit of a Mod Podge overlay, just so it, you know, it's got a little bit more sturdiness. But I pressed these leaves in a book earlier this week, and they look great. This is free collage material here, and it's gorgeous. Look at this leaf. I forget where I got these from, actually. Which plant? But man, are they pretty. Now I could also, if I wanted to, put tape around this too, because it's very delicate. So let me go ahead and do that. I don't want anything to happen to it. Why did I put Mod Podge on if I was going to put tape? I don't know. This is the process, right? Okay, I'm going to fold this over. See how this goes. I could have done the tape first, but that's okay. But at least this way, I think the leaf will last longer, which is the goal. No clue which plant I got this leaf from. Don't worry about getting a little glue on the tape because, I mean, I do have a cloth here, finally remembered. But the glue dries clear, so. And I always have this side of it, which is still pretty. Go ahead and fold these top parts over. I'm really loving just using packing tape in new, exciting ways. I don't know if I mentioned that yet or not, but using it as a collage element has sort of become a goal of mine, like putting cool things between tape and then using that in whatever collage I'm working on. Is one of the things I'm doing. So maybe we'll look more at that in a future video. Okay, I'm gonna stick this in too. So we have bugs, bees, nature, bugs, insects, flowers, nature, beauty, and then we have an actual, true, real, 3D piece of organic material. That's it. That's our first pocket. What do you think? I told you this is going to be a long video. You can stop watching now, pause it now, and go work in your book some more, and then come back. Okay, let's move on and see what else we can do. Okay, so that's our tiny pocket. Let's do a clear pocket. I'll just do it here so we can sort of stay on this page and let those elements dry. Now remember I said I have a pocket, I have a clear bag full of clear bags. So what I really want is something transparent. So I save any clear sleeve. And that way I always have one when I need one. What I like about this is it closes on its own, so I don't have to worry about the mechanism for keeping it closed. However, it's slightly large for my page, so I think I will cut a smaller. I'm going to cut some of the bottom off and some of this side off and just make a smaller pocket because we're trying to work economic here. So now what I have to do is go ahead and tape those sides that I just cut off so that nothing falls out. I have found that gluing these vellum envelopes does not always work. It's not always, certainly from a longevity standpoint, I think tape is the way to go. And it's faster, so we have that on our side. Okay, and then my hands are dirty. They always are, so there's going to be fingerprints on my pocket. There's just no way around it. Sorry, I have dirty hands. If someone wanted to get my DNA, they could easily just look in any of my art books and they would have it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and tape the top of this. Trying to work quickly, but takes what it takes. sort of extended my pocket a little bit with the tape. This isn't going to be the prettiest pocket you've ever seen. Okay, now, maybe I want to use this to obscure this boat for whatever reason. I'll have to work that out later. But what I want to do is glue or tape it over the boat. I'm thinking tape, but I'm also thinking it's going to be difficult to get anything inside this pocket because it's so narrow. I made it a little too narrow. So I think I'm going to abandon the flap. I'm going to stick more with, am I going to abandon the flap? I don't know. I like the flap. It's just going to be difficult to get in and out of is my biggest problem. So I'm just going to reinforce the other side. And we have to keep in mind that what we're putting into this needs to be extremely narrow for us ever to be able to get it out. Which is fine. I was just going to do a little mantra on this one. An easy mantra collage. So, all right, a bit of ASMR for you. I am trimming the inside just a tad, even though there's a flap there, because I think it'll make it easier to pull whatever's inside here out. Now we can also include a tab, okay? So we want to go ahead and attach this. Let me give Mod Podge a try. I don't know if it's going to stick, but we might as well try it. It'll have time to really dry. So I'm just putting my pocket directly over that picture that's already on the page. Let's see if we can get some adhesion going. I do not want to glue my tab, obviously, so I'm going to leave that part up. Okay, now we want a little tiny mantra. Let's see if I can find anything on here. It's a nice bright one. You know, a good place to find, because one of the things I've been trying to do with my words I use in a collage is to, you know, to keep, for example, for this mantra, I want to take words that all look alike or are the same font or came from the same original text. And that provides a uniformity, even though I might change the order of the words or something like that. So I think we're going to have to do a vertical. We could just, I like good thoughts. I think we're going to have to do a vertical something in here. I could just do good thoughts. We need a verb if it's going to be a mantra though. How about shine good thoughts, beam good thoughts, love good thoughts, will good thoughts. In other words, not the question will good thoughts, but the verb. In other words, sort of like manifest, a synonym for manifest. Or have. Oh, I just found the word have. Have good thoughts. There we go. I also like the word sunbeam that's on here. Have sunbeam thoughts. Have good thoughts. That's a good enough mantra. Problem is, anytime I get words out, I start, my writer/editor brain kicks in and then I start getting lost. I'll be seen again in 3 hours with a 3-word poem. So I'm trying to keep my work area clear too. So we have good thoughts. I don't know, do we want good thoughts? And this seems like, you know, having good thoughts would help you on a voyage, right? So we want to make a vertical mantra that we can pull out, but we want it to be, we want you to have to pull it out in order to read the mantra. So I need something for the other side. So I need something that is has a little bit of weight to it. I have this piece that we could use. Get this out of the way for the moment. I have these, this is another textural. Blue would be nice, right? This is another textural element that I had already created. As a reminder, I'm happy to mail out collage, things to collage with, including tons of textures, which I myself have created. Okay, so I'm gonna put have good thoughts on the back here. I'll put the glue down first, and then once it dries, I can color over it if I want to. I just want this to be pretty narrow and a vertical thing that we can pull out. I could put a string on it too. Easy to put a string on. I just need to punch a hole and find a string. I could fold this over. Ooh, that's an idea. Since I have extra and I've already put glue on the whole thing, I'll just see if I can fold it over. How well can you see what I'm doing? I hope this video works because my phone is telling me I am low on storage, which is so silly. Such a silly problem to have in today's day and age. Wouldn't you agree? All right, I'm just folding the sides over. I think what I'm going to do is stop this here after I finish this pocket, and then I'll make a part 2, and in the meantime I can figure out what's going on with my camera, because I don't want to keep filming if it's not gonna save it. You know what I mean? Let's see if this is the right size. It is. And we want to put, it doesn't matter as much the verticality because we're going to punch a hole. I'm folding this over again, make it very thick. So I'm thinking it's in there like this, and you pull out and you flip. Nope, it's got to be in here like this. Test this out. Pull out, flip, and that's, yeah. So I need my hole actually to be at this end where the thoughts are. So I'm gonna glue some more. So we will have a part 2 of this video. I'll post them both at the same time, but I just want to make sure I manage this technical issue before we keep filming. So the last thing in the world I want to do is make a video that no one can ever see. Which, fun fact, the very first video I made was exactly that, because the sound wasn't on. So at least I figured that much out. All right, we have our mantra. It's nicely encased in this wrapper. Again, I don't know, I might just put tape over the whole thing. I can decide that later. But for right now, this is good. Okay. So this would go in like this. You pull it out and flip. Have good thoughts is what you see. Cute. I like it. All right, it's very glued up now, and I'm going to use my handy dandy wet cloth to get the glue off my hand. See how handy that is? It's so nice when I remember to have water nearby. Okay, hole punch and string. Need a nice string here. We could do wire too. I have wire handy, but let's see what I can find in here. Green. Green is kind of nice. Oh, or I already have this yellow that's cut, so let's do that. Let's do that. If you ever see like old, not old or used, but like if you ever see discounted like not crochet, like, you know, the yarn they use for friendship bracelets. I don't know what it's called. Pick some up because you can use it in your art. And in fact, I do want to do a video one of these days on using thread or maybe other textiles. I don't know. Textiles in general, I should say. I made a little tiny hole punch. You could also just poke that with, you know, something. Uh-oh. Little tiny hole punch, and then I'm going to make a knot. Does anyone know fancy knot making? Because I would like to learn some cool knots to use. Maybe I'll watch a video on that before we do our texture, including texture in your book tutorial. Okay, but now I have a knot anyway. So the string's not going to fall off of my mantra. It's still a little bit gluey, but it's pretty good, right? If you're enjoying so far, I'm going to stop it here, but if you're enjoying, please go ahead and go on to Pockets Part 2 once I get this craziness figured out. I'm going to leave the string. I like having it hanging out. I might trim a little bit. Remember, one of the things I liked about this was that the pocket already had a mechanism for closing. So I do want to make sure I can go ahead and close it. There we go. Now, the last thing I would probably do on this is include instructions. But since I haven't decorated the page yet, I'll just leave it as is. Maybe the instruction can be written up here somewhere, because this is two-part open and pull, so that would take a little bit more thinking. Well, that's 2 miniature pockets. We'll deep dive into the other ones I want to do. I want to do a pocket poem. I want to show you how to make pockets using the pages of your book. And then I want to show you, we found the cool one where it was already a pocket, like an envelope. So there's lots more to come. Okay, see you in a minute when you click on part 2.